Good afternoon everyone, welcome back to my class, and in this video I will be talking about follicular development, which is a part of ovarian cycle. And because I'm tend to discuss about menstrual cycle. Okay, so many queries coming out of menstrual cycle, it's hormonal changes, so that's why I think that in this video let's talk about follicular development. So I have already talked about in my last class oogenesis. So before watching this video, I will suggest you please once take a look on that video, that oogenesis. Okay, and during oogenesis, parallelly occurs these follicular development. So we have developed primary oocyte. So it is in the first step of the follicular development. This is the primary oocyte. And this primary oocyte, we can write it as first degree oocyte. But this follicle, where this primary oocyte actually located, this follicle is named as primordial follicle. So this follicle is named as primordial follicle. But here are some blue color cells, right? These cells, these are single layer granulosa cells. So these are named as granulosa cells. So what are the importance of these granulosa cells? These granulosa cells provide nutrition to the primary oocyte, and it also secretes oocyte maturation inhibiting factor, OMIF. So this OMIF, that is the oocyte maturation inhibiting factor, it inhibits that primary oocyte for its further maturation. Okay, and then comes to the next level of development. So in the next phase, this primordial follicle, it becomes the primary follicle. So primordial follicle becomes primary follicle. And in this primary follicle, this oocyte is same as the primary oocyte, because there is no such development of primary oocyte. So this oocyte is same as first degree oocyte, which is primary oocyte. Okay, but the difference you can notice that the granulosa cells, in primordial follicle there is only single layer of granulosa cells, but this granulosa cell layer becomes multiple in case of primary follicle. So its size becomes 20 micron. Its size becomes 20 micron. Though it's very small, but still it's slightly increased from primordial follicle. And what are the difference between the granulosa cells that are present on primordial follicle and that are present on primary follicle? Because these granulosa cells firstly developed as squamous or spindle shaped. So these are squamous or spindle shaped. These are squamous or spindle shaped for primordial follicle, and it becomes columnar in case of primary follicle. So primary follicle, these granulosa cells become columnar. Okay, and what happens? There occurs another cell layer, that is very important layer, that is the zona pellucida. That is zona pellucida. But this zona pellucida starts appearing. This is zona pellucida. It starts appearing during primary follicle. Next, this primary follicle becomes secondary follicle, and you can see the difference that it's very large follicle than the other two, like primordial follicle and primary follicle. This secondary follicle is enough large, and there is so many things happens. What happens? Firstly, you can see, you can observe, you can notice very clearly that these granulosa cells become so many. That means it has mitosis and it increased its cell number, so they becomes large in numbers. These are the granulosa cells. These are the granulosa cells. And next you can see two large violet color cavity, this one and this one. These are called as antrum. These are antrum. And these antrum are fluid filled cavity. These are fluid filled cavity. Fluid filled cavity are called antrum. Okay. And what more? This is a layer of cell. These are known as theca. Theca cell appear. And what is another thing? That this oocyte becomes the second degree oocyte, because it's the secondary follicle, so it must be the secondary oocyte. No, it's still the primary oocyte. It's still the primary oocyte. So this oocyte is still primary oocyte. So in secondary follicle, the oocyte is still primary oocyte. Okay. And there occurs another important thing, that is angiogenesis. So what is angiogenesis? It's the formation of new blood vessels. So there is angiogenesis, that means formation of new blood vessels. So you can ask me, ma'am, please tell us that there is blood vessels present in primordial follicle and primary follicle or not? So I will like to tell you that primordial follicle, that means this first step, is totally avascular. There is no blood vessels. Okay, it is completely avascular. But this generation of new blood vessels starts in primary follicle, since primary follicle, and it's get more prominent during this secondary follicle. But in secondary follicle, these primary oocyte and these first layer of this granulosa cell, these are still avascular. These blood vessels do not penetrate these primary oocyte and these granulosa layers. Okay, primary granulosa layers, there is so many layer of granulosa cells, but the first line of granulosa cells, and one thing I want to make here also, that is the layer of zona pellucida, which become more prominent in secondary follicle. So let's see what happens in the last phase, that is the tertiary follicle. So in case of tertiary follicle, we can notice that there is another layer of cell. that is this magenta color cells. This magenta is theca interna. These are theca interna. So if it is theca interna, then that the last one, it is the theca externa. So this one is the theca externa. So theca externa, theca interna. That these blue cells are the granulosa cells. So these are the granulosa cell layer. G for granulosa cells. And what is the noticeable difference? That is, antrum becomes so large and it forms the Leica folliculi. It forms the Leica folliculi. It's nothing but the fluid filled cavity. Okay. So now we can see that there is the oocyte, and this oocyte will be second degree oocyte. Second degree oocyte. So when it becomes second degree oocyte? At the last stage of the follicular development. During the last phase of the follicular development, the primary oocyte becomes the secondary oocyte. Okay, and there is also this layer, that is the zona pellucida layer, is fully mature. Zona pellucida becomes fully matured. Okay, antrum becomes large, granulosa cell layers become enriched, and theca becomes theca interna and theca externa. So this is the total development of the tertiary follicle, and this is named as Graafian follicle. This is the Graafian follicle. If it is second degree oocyte, then second degree oocyte generated after the completion of fast meiotic division, like fast meiotic. So we can write here that fast meiosis, completion of meiosis 1 complete, and it completes only before the onset of ovulation. So now there will be ovulation, and ovulation means when the ova comes out from the Graafian follicle. That means this ovum, this second degree oocyte, will leave this Graafian follicle and it will come out to the peritoneal cavity. So that will be the phase of ovulation, right? So now what next? That these, so now this second degree oocyte will leave this Graafian follicle and comes out with, see, this is the granulosa cell layer, this is the zona pellucida, and the second degree oocyte. Now it will wait for sperm to come in contact with this ovum. Okay. And the secondary oocyte will again arrested in the metaphase 2. When there will be the presence of sperm, then only it can complete its meiosis 2 and produce the egg. Okay, any activity that occurs within our cell, it's all hormone dependent. So a very special hormone that helps in follicular development and secreted from the anterior pituitary, that is FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. Okay, and our that theca interna, which have the LH receptors, okay, which have the LH receptors, that means the luteinizing hormone receptors. So the LH hormone acts on these LH hormone receptors and it produces the most important hormone, that is an ovarian hormone, that is estrogen. Okay. And these granulosa cells, it also houses the FSH receptors. It also houses FSH receptors, and FSH hormones from anterior pituitary binds with these receptors, and they also converts the androgen into estrogen. So these granulosa cells provide estrogen, and these theca interna also provide estrogen. Okay, here is the complete video of follicular development. Go and check this video and let me know that it's difficult for you or it's very easy to understand. Okay.